Hey everybody, welcome to AP Gov at Night, starring Mr. Glazier and Mr. Book, live from the Glazier and Book compounds. We miss you guys. We are so glad that we're able to connect with you guys tonight. Mr. Glazier, how are you?
Hey, this is outstanding. We miss you guys very much. We hope that you're doing well. We know that there's a ton to go over. Look, we're going to get you ready for the AP test. It's going to be all good. Zoom calls tomorrow, starting with my third hour, but your fourth hour, and then Friday with 5 and 6. It's going to be good.
Yep. We'll take care of all of your fears, all your questions in those Zoom calls. But for now, we want to guide you with where to go with the executive branch, as that is what we need to cover moving forward, getting you prepared for that AP test. So without further ado, take a look at this document that is going to be shared with you on your individual Google Classroom pages. This is some unbelievably well put together notes with just a wealth of information to guide you through this next part of our Unit 2. So you're looking for a quote with Woodrow Wilson that kicks you off. That's how you know you're in the right place, folks. And here's what's so great about this document. Mr. Glazier, can you see everything pretty good on your end? Is this full screen and all that?
We are 5 by 5. It's all good.
And there we go. Cool. Excellent. So as you guys click through, you're going to see the topic. You're going to see this little Con 4C1. Ignore all that. Look at what's in red here. Justifications for a single executive are set forth in Federalist Paper number 70. Federalist Paper number 70, one of the foundational documents that we haven't talked about a ton while we were live in person, but it's going to be really easy for you to understand. First of all, it's that the executive branch needs to be led by somebody that is energetic, that is filled with energy, but most importantly, that it's a single person, one person. So check out Federalist Paper number 70. You can see there's a con link right here. Anything that is in bold and underlined and in a different color is a link for you to click on that'll lead you to a video or some audio that will help you understand the concept on the page. So if you're reading this quote from Hamilton here and you're like, I don't get this. What does he mean by energetic executive? What does he mean by a single leader? Well, take a look at the con content, and that'll kind of further your understanding on this. Anything to add there?
Yeah, they're just going to say the framers had a really, really big argument. Many framers wanted a council of 3 presidents so they could vote 2 against 1, 3 to nothing in not giving too much power to one person. It sounded too much like a king by another name. This idea of a president, it's a king by another name. And we know our anti-federalists in particular were very fearful of too much centralized power. And in this case, that's why we're talking about 3 versus 1, or a unitary executive, which is what Hamilton's talking about.
Right. You know, one president, Hamilton said, can act quicker. It's less dangerous for democracy than a council. It's easier to identify and remove a corrupt leader. These are all things that you'll find through this content that is linked here. But also, we are here to answer any questions that you have on this. Must give energy and also must give efficiency. That's what you're going to find within Federalist Paper number 70. All right. Again, maybe Khan Academy is not a resource you want to look at. Here's another one by an AP Gov colleague named Kelsey Filkowski. A quick 5-minute overview of her take on Federalist Paper number 70. What's great about this video, folks, is that it's not just a background on the Federalist Paper, but it's got some, here's potentially what the College Board could ask us about as we move forward. All right. So again, here's some of our notes. Mr. Glazier and I just keeping it simple. All right. Keeping it simple. Here's what you need to know potentially for one of the 2 questions or both of the questions on May 11th. All right. As we go from Federalist Paper number 70, we go into the constitutional qualifications. Don't spend long on this. It's not hard to understand. You guys know your qualifications for Congress. You guys know your qualifications for both the House and the Senate, and here are those for the presidency. All right. We then get into kind of the many hats that are worn by the president. And this goes along really well with what's in your AMSCO textbook, but it just keeps it nice and simple. So our expectation moving forward is not to get you guys going through every single page of the AMSCO textbook. We don't have the time for it, and 2, we've got an abundance of other resources that are quick and easy for you to look at, like this.
I'm going to add one thing to that. If you follow this PowerPoint, you're going to be in great shape. Always thinking about how the executive branch and the legislative branch and the judicial branch and the bureaucracy all interact. Yep. Thinking that viewpoint, this PowerPoint, you don't need a chapter from the book. This is what you need.
And then we get into the history, a little bit of the history of the executive branch, starting back with the first president, Mr. President, George Washington. We get a little bit into the unprecedented stepping away at the height of his power after 2 terms, setting that, listen, there's no 22nd Amendment at this time when he walks away after 2 terms.
So we'd call that an informal amendment, maybe one of the most important ones, set up by custom or tradition of 2 terms, walk away. Everybody follows it until you get 22, the 22nd Amendment after FDR's 4 terms.
Right. And when Mr. Glazer says informal amendment, that means it's not in the original Constitution. It's not a formal power of the presidency until the 22nd Amendment is passed after FDR's 4 terms. Here's just a little clip from Hamilton with the song One Last Time. A really good look out into the farewell letter that George Washington penned to the American public, just outlining how we've never seen anything like this from a world leader like George Washington stepping away at the height of their power when they're extremely well liked. And this song from Hamilton kind of covers that a little bit. Going on in our our take through history here, a little bit about Andrew Jackson, the imperial presidency, Abraham Lincoln, the imperial presidency. You guys, very timely here, how the president has a huge rise in the amount of power that they bring out during times of crisis. We're living in a time of crisis. All right. So take a look at how Abraham Lincoln responded to the crises that he was serving during, and some of the things that he did to stretch the limits of what the presidents had done previously prior to him.
And we're all, tomorrow in our Zoom lessons, Friday in our Zoom lessons, we'll go deep diving into these. So we're good. We're good.
Absolutely. Again, a little bit more about the history, a little bit more about FDR, who we mentioned before. And then this is kind of where we want you to stop. We'll get into the expansion of presidential power. We'll get into, we talked about the 22nd Amendment a little bit, but we'll guide you through this, you guys, both through the Google Classroom page as well as through our Zoom check-ins. But get started with those first 15 slides, 1 through 15. Take notes the way you did prior to the virus. Take notes with if you weren't doing Cornell notes, start doing those Cornell notes. Treat this like it's life as normal in AP Gov. Don't stress over the what if. Don't stress over should I be doing more. We're going to guide you through this and start with this PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll see you guys in the Zoom calls tomorrow and on Friday. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you soon.
Peace, love.